Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into an exciting topic, Rolling File Appender in Log4j2. Imagine your logs are piling up in a single file. It's a mess, right? But with the Rolling File Appender, you can neatly organize and rotate logs based on size or time. It's like giving your logs a cleanup crew. Let's jump in and set it up step by step. In the last video, we used the console appender to display logs on the console. But what if we need to save these logs in a file for tracking and analysis? And what if we want those log files to automatically roll over, say, when they reach a certain size or after a specific time interval? That's exactly what the Rolling File Appender is for. Let's dive in and see how we can set it up effectively. Alright, let's go ahead and code this out. Now, let's add the Rolling File Appender under the Appenders section. Just like we did with the console appender, we can define multiple rolling file appenders if needed. But right now, let's focus on defining one rolling file appender. First, let's add a name for our rolling file appender. The name is simply an identifier for the appender, and you can name it anything you like. For this configuration, I'll use Rolling File Appender. Next, add the file name property. The file name tells us where the log file will be written and what the name of the file will be, meaning the full path and file name. But instead of hard-coding the file path multiple times, we can define a property to make the path reusable across the configuration. Log4j2 allows us to define properties in the configuration file. Alright, let's define the properties section where we'll store the file path and file name. We'll place this section in parallel to appenders, but above the appenders section for clear structure. Add property inside properties. We can define multiple properties inside the property section. Alright, let's focus on the very first property. Define a property called logFilePath, which will store the directory where we want to save the log files. Name, this is the key for our property, and we call it logFilePath. Value, in value, we define property value corresponding to above name. Assigning the folder path /user/user1/downloads demo, which will be the location where our logs will be stored. Great, now that we've defined the log file path, let's move to the next property, log file name. Assigning the valued employee service, which will be the name of our log file. Great, now that we've defined our properties, let's jump back to the Rolling File Appender configuration. Use the properties we just defined for the file path and the file name in the Rolling File Appender. To do that, we need to use the $open curly bracket then property name then close curly bracket syntax. Using $logFilePath to get the log file path dynamically and $logFileName to set the log file name as employeeservice.log. So, the log file will be created at the path you defined earlier. Next, let's define the file pattern for our rolling file appender. This is where the magic happens for file rollover. The file pattern tells log4j2 how the log file will be named and organized during the rollover. We're going to keep the log files in the same directory and with the same base name, but we want to add a timestamp and index to ensure each rolled over file is unique. Use the properties we defined earlier for the log file path and log file name. This ensures the logs are written to the correct folder, and we keep a consistent naming pattern. We'll add the date to the file name using %dyyyymmddhhm. This will append the timestamp in the format yyyymmddhmm to the file name, ensuring that each log file is timestamped and easy to distinguish. If there are multiple log files created in the same minute, we want to append a number to the file name, like 1, 2, 3, etc. To do this, we use %i, which will automatically generate a sequential index number. Now that we've added the timestamp and index to our file pattern, let's make sure to append the .log extension at the end. You can actually use any extension you prefer, but for this example, we'll stick with .log. Next, let's define the pattern for the log lines inside the file. We've already defined the log pattern for the console appender in the previous video, so we can just copy that and use it here. The pattern helps format how each log line will appear in the log file. Now, let's move on to adding policies. In the Rolling File Appender, policies define when the log files should roll over. This allows us to control how and when the log file changes or gets archived based on certain criteria, such as file size or date. For example, we can set the policy to roll over the log file when it reaches a certain size, like 1 megabyte, or even define how often we want to create a new log file. There are several types of trigger policies you can use in the Rolling File Appender. Let's take a quick look at the most common ones. On startup triggering policy, cron triggering policy, size-based triggering policy, and time-based triggering policy. Let's take a closer look at the on startup triggering policy. This policy is quite simple. It triggers a rollover whenever the application starts. It's particularly useful when you want to create a fresh log file every time the application restarts. For example, if you're logging application behavior during a specific session or a day, you can start a new log file every time the app boots up. This ensures that each time your application starts, a new log file will be created and the old log file will be archived. Next, let's talk about the cron triggering policy. This policy allows us to trigger a rollover based on a cron expression. It's super flexible and allows you to schedule log rollovers at specific times or intervals. For example, if you want to roll over your log files every day at midnight, or every Monday at 8 a.m., you can set up a cron expression for that. Here's an example of how you would add the cron triggering policy in the configuration. The cron expression 000** tells the system to roll over the log files at midnight every day. You can adjust the cron syntax to suit your needs, whether it's hourly, daily, or at any custom time. Now, let's move on to the size-based triggering policy. This policy helps us manage log files based on their size. It's really useful when we want to make sure our log files don't grow too large and become unmanageable. With this policy, we can specify the maximum size for each log file, and once it reaches that size, it automatically rolls over to a new file. For example, let's say we want our log file to roll over once it reaches 10 megabytes. We can define the size-based triggering policy like this as shown in screen. This configuration ensures that every time the log file reaches 10 megabytes, a new log file is created. You can also combine this policy with others, such as time-based rollover, for more complex log management. The time-based triggering policy in the Rolling File Appender is used to determine when a rollover should occur based on time intervals. This policy allows us to roll over log files based on specific time intervals, such as daily, hourly, or by minute. Interval specifies how often the rollover should happen, based on the time unit in your file pattern. For example, if %dyyyymmdd is used in the file pattern interval, 1 would mean a daily rollover. If %dyyyymmddhh is used interval, 1 would mean a rollover every hour. If %dyyyymmddhmm is used interval, 1 would mean a rollover every minute. Modulate, if true, the rollover will be aligned to a boundary of interval time units. For example, if the rotation frequency is hourly with an interval of 4 and the application starts at 3:14, false will roll over at 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1500 hours, 1900 hours and 2300 hours each day. True will roll over at midnight, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1600 hours and 2000 hours each day. Only applies if interval is greater than 1. Now, what if you want to apply multiple rollover policies at the same time? Well, log4j2 allows you to define multiple policies for the same appender, and they will work together to determine when a log file should roll over. Here's how you can configure multiple policies in the Rolling File Appender shown on screen. In above we used size-based triggering policy and time-based triggering policy. Size-based triggering policy ensures that the log file is rolled over when it exceeds a certain size, for example, 5 megabytes. This is great for controlling how large your log files can grow. And time-based triggering policy ensures that the log file is rolled over based on a time interval, like every day, hour, or minute. Now, let's jump back to IntelliJ and set up our rolling file appender with a simpler configuration. Use just the size-based triggering policy to trigger the rollover when the log file exceeds 1 kilobyte. Next, we need to define the default rollover strategy, which will control how many old log files to keep after a rollover. Since we specified a time pattern down to the minute, we can control the number of log files kept for each minute. Once the limit is reached, older files will be deleted. Now, let's set the max value in the default rollover strategy section. This defines how many backup log files we want to keep. Once the number of log files exceeds the limit we set, the older files will be deleted automatically. In this case, we'll keep a maximum of 2 files per minute, which ensures that we don't clutter the disk with too many old logs. If more than 2 log files are created within a minute, for instance, if the log size exceeds 1 kilobyte multiple times, the older files will be deleted automatically. Now that our rolling file appender configuration is ready, we need to link it to our logger through the appender ref in the logger section. We've already added the console appender earlier, but don't worry, we don't need to remove it. We can actually add multiple appender ref for different loggers. Let's go ahead and add the rolling file appender reference alongside the console one. Now, let's restart the application to apply the changes we've made to the rolling file appender configuration. Hey, looks like we've encountered a small issue in the console logs. I've defined a size-based triggering policy, but I made a mistake by typing it as size-based trigger policy. This small typo is causing the error. Let's fix it real quick and get everything back on track. Now, let's restart the application to apply the changes we just made. Now, let's switch to the folder where we configured the log files to be saved. As you can see on my screen, the employee-service.log file is created. And there's an archive file as well. Notice that the file size is exactly 1 kilobyte, which is what we set in our policy. With the size-based triggering policy, once the file reaches 1 kilobyte, it automatically rolls over, and a new file is generated. Now let's open Postman and hit our logger API. As you can see, we have one file created at the 10th minute, and by the 11th minute, we have 2 files. For a more detailed understanding of the rolling file appender, I highly recommend checking the official Apache Log4j documentation. It has a comprehensive guide on how the appender works and how you can customize it further. In today's video, we learned how to configure a rolling file appender to manage log file rollover based on size and time. We also configured policies to determine when and how logs roll over and defined a strategy to limit the number of backup files kept. You saw how the logs are written to a file, and how new files are created as old ones are deleted when the size limit is reached. In the next video, we'll discuss the concept of MDC, map diagnostic context, and how to print logs using MDC to provide more context in your log entries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated on our upcoming videos.